Whoop. Kevin Chaos here. And here. Alright, so, don't know how choppy or crappy it's going to come out, but it ain't going to matter much. Tonight, a new story for you dudes, dudettes, and other. Terrorism works. Unfortunately, in both directions. But what happens when you're a terrorist to someone who's familiar with the arts of terrorism? How much can they use the same arts to not only slow you down, but ultimately defeat you, or worse? So tonight we'll have some new, interesting stories, and tomorrow, because I don't plan on doing a whole lot of editing, tomorrow we'll have some video evidence. Just splice in and make the story just that much more exciting. You get to see what it's like. Yeah, I'm the bad guy, right? Ooh, look who ain't arrested. Look who just walked away from cops. Again. Everybody, when they fail at being an intelligent person, they call the cops. Or they commit acts of horrible violence. And then maybe even after that call the cops. All of which fail. You could fucking put me borderline near death. I'm hooked up with IV tubes and say, hanging in the bed, you know. And it wouldn't matter. Because you know what I'm going to do as soon as I get out of that hospital or whatever? I'm going to tell that much harder. Somebody thought that my opinion was so important, so powerful, so capable of changing minds and affecting the world that they had to violently stop it. Right? If someone goes through such an effort to shut you down, no matter what it looks like, they try to make out to be terrorist or criminal or what, there might be something you're doing that's not wrong per se, but effective. Remember, in Kevin's School for Evil, don't think in terms of right and wrong or good and evil. Instead, think in terms of works and doesn't work. So we're going to talk about a couple of those things. And primarily what excited this is I got to sit in a Medicaid cab or whatever. It's a cab that your Medicaid or medical pays for to go to doctor's appointments and such. And this woman's a drunk driver, so we're not only going to get to destroy her emotions and her mood and her mind first, all recorded, but we're also going to destroy her reputation. Because here's the thing, folks, it isn't even just about destroying this person's name per se. This isn't about defamation in and of itself. No, this is about the fact, for example, my roommate's learning disabled, and I've been fighting, as you guys have known, the landlord situation. Well, learning disabled guy can't speak up for himself the way that I might be able to, even if I come off too strong, right? So the options are nothing or too much, right? I'd rather go with too much. So if he can't defend himself, guess who's going to have to fight that much harder? Same thing here. I get to think about the fact that this person's job, this person's sole job, the only thing that she does is to drive people with mental disabilities to and from doctor's appointments, medication appointments, etc. So her only job is to essentially make sure that the mentally ill arrive safely to and from their destinations. Driving without a seatbelt, driving over curbs, drinking and driving, all of those things are highly inappropriate. And it took me 3 times before I even said anything to her. Okay? First 2 times she was my ride, I didn't say anything. Driving without the seatbelt, driving like, you know, the classic drunk position where they're hunched over like a hunchback and they're driving like they're trying to glue their eyeballs to the fucking front window. They're just leaned in like they don't even realize they're doing it. But for some reason, it's pretty common in my observations that alcoholics do this hunched race car driver thing and lean that forward in and shit. So she's got that. She smells strongly of alcohol. She's not wearing a seatbelt. She's driving over curbs. She's not coming to a complete stop to make turns. She's running red lights. All these things add up, whether you're drunk or not, even at that speculation. Okay, cool. And I have to trust you with my life every time I go somewhere. Not that I have a great sense of fear, but the consequences are pretty realistic and possible. You know, you could still kill us, whether I'm afraid about it or worried or not. You know, it still might end up happening. You know, I don't have that average sphere to keep me safe. But I'm noticing all this, and then it comes to the point where I call for my ride back, right? And I'm autistic, man, and ADHD. I might not remember details earlier that were really doesn't even matter for real. I asked what color her car is, that my phone was dying. I call her from a desk phone to get the ride home. Ask what color her car is so that I can make sure to get in the right car and get home, you know? Not only is she late, not only she gets an attitude. She's on the phone and she's like, same color car I was driving earlier. Well, thanks, lady. I only asked because I already knew, right? If I already fucking knew what color car you drove, maybe I would have assumed that. But since I couldn't remember, I called and I asked. And that's the attitude the mentally ill person trying to make sure they can get to and from their appointments gets from the non-mentally ill adult? Yeah, right. So I was a bit of a terrorist, you could say. I held her responsible. But not at first either. It takes you guys acting crazy before I hold you guys to some extreme. It took her raising her voice, also recorded, at the top of her lungs. Just because, first thing I said when she took me to the appointment this morning, which started this whole thing, was I said, put your seatbelt on. I didn't even bring it into a conversation. I just literally, because I've seen this twice before, I don't need to give you a big lecture on why. I'm pretty sure you know the fucking law. I said, put your seatbelt on. And she put it on, and you think that's the end of that. Okay, cool. But I guess it sat in her brain, pissed her off a little bit. Later on, I have to tell her to put her seatbelt on again. Why is a mentally ill person telling an adult with no disorders whatsoever, who runs this as a job, that this is the specific thing she's trained and good at, telling you to fucking put your seatbelt on, right? Okay. So, even though I ended up getting the ride back, I decided to camp out in her vehicle, let her be upset, let her scream, let her be a terrorist, continue to record, egg it on just as much as necessary. Even got some more Christian curses. You know how it goes. They say the name of Jesus in every way. They know how to say Jesus' name, and they're like waving their hand over their own face like they're trying to wash off the eye boogers from a distance, you know. In the name of the blood of my penis and my Jesus, in the blood, I rebuke and, whatever, you get the idea. But they do that, and some people take it to a great level of psychosis. But here's the thing, not only should she report me and say she didn't feel safe with me and all this other irrational shit before I even took it that level, which gave me the inspiration, in truth. But if you don't feel safe, then why the hell are you here? If you don't feel safe, why ain't it 911 you're calling? Why are you still camping around? How can you turn your back to me not feeling safe? How can you pay so much attention to your phone and stuff not feeling safe? How are you singing songs and doing religious shit not being safe? Okay, that one might make a little bit of sense. You don't feel safe, so you think God will beat my ass for you. Yeah. It just blows my mind, the ignorance and arrogance of some of these Christian terrorists, folks. I mean, you get to act like a wild fucking maniac, and because your God's guaranteed to love you anyway, according to the book anyway, you just instantly get forgiven. You can call on him for support anytime you stir some chaotic fucking situation. I yelled, the mentally ill, they're yelling back, oh no, I'm fearful now, let me ask God for help. I mean, I'm really not trying to just be an asshole, but I fail to understand a lot of things people do. And in the end, they try to paint it out like I was the one who didn't, because I've Asperger's or something, didn't understand the social rhetoric that you're supposed to subject yourself to misery, to screaming, to misfortune at the hands of others. You're supposed to allow absolute suffering every chance you get. Turn the other cheek, get punched in the other jaw. That's what Christians are taught, you know. Turn the other cheek. I even mentioned that during the little recording. I was like, you know, how's that God helping you out right now? How's that protection working? Looks like you're spending a lot of energy, a lot of breath. Where's these police? I'm waiting on these authorities. I'd love for this to end. I'd love to go home. Are you going to finish driving the rest of the way to my address? It's park in the middle of the road. Now I know that that's something that they do, but it wasn't like that before. And she used it as a card. I'm only taking you as far as this. I have physical disabilities and mental disabilities. I will sit in this car till you pull up to my fucking house. Or, you know, and people have made that mistake in the past too. Like, they'll park at the wrong address and I'm supposed to walk and limp over on my fucked up knee and get over to them just because they're stupid and I'm not. So yeah, we're going to discuss a little bit, and we're going to do the breakdown like we like to do. We're going to play some of the footage of where she went wrong. Am I wrong? Of course I'm wrong. I'm teaching people. You can only teach people from their plane. If people are hellion, you got to go to hell in order to drag their hand up to heaven, right? To continue to borrow a metaphor. So we'll play some of the footage later, probably tomorrow. And I will break down some of the things she could have done better, what she's saying and doing that contradicts. We'll also see some of her power strategies. If any of the audio came up, I tried my best. For all the people she called to look for pretend emotional support, calling a family member, advocating violence against me. Why don't you call your sons? One of the other family members said. It's like, well, because he's white. Was the action I got back. Yeah, that's interesting. I would call these two people to come beat up his ass, but, and she narrated this in different words, folks, but he's white and will probably make it seem like a racial thing. He's autistic. He won't even know that he's doing it. He will make it racial, and then it'll look like these people are defending him. And that don't even make sense. I think what she was trying to say was that would make it seem like two innocent black people, as if there's any innocent any color people. There ain't no innocent white people. There ain't no innocent black people, and I ain't even white. I'm French, but shows the ignorance of fucking retards ready to use the race card when all other fucking tests, all other little cards fail. When you ain't one, ain't one, ain't one, police ain't one, mental health ain't one, call it the CAD company work on ain't one. What's left? Violence. What a dumb fucking retard. Okay, cool. You have that. But and racism. So she would have my ass beat, folks, but because I'm white and they're black people, It might be very fucking obvious on her end, not the other way around, that it's a racially motivated attack. It's fucking clever that she snuck that in. She got really irate about the alcoholism, too. Really irate. Like, she immediately showed me she's an alcoholic, basically. I wish the cop would have breathalyzed her. But cop agreed with everything I said. They almost always do. We walked away. They didn't even take down my information. That's how much I'm in the right. When you guys, I need you to get this through your heads, man, because there's going to be plenty more videos like this, and hopefully I get more and more ballsy each time and record more and more and more. But the fact of the matter is, this is called Kevin's School for Evil. If you think I'm afraid, if you think I'm not willing to quote Einstein, it's not that I'm so smart, I just stayed with my problems longer. If you think that I'm not willing to suffer to get to the end result, then you're fucking foolish. If you think you have any power being a tyrant or a terrorist or a criminal, then you're fucking foolish. My God is a devil. You know, we work through our problems. We don't ask our God to just instantly handle all of them. We ask him for the tools that can help us learn how to handle shit on our own. To be as gods. Oh, so if you think that your terrorism works, you're insane. This bitch is going to lose her job. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I filmed it. You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. And if you think I'm going to twist it, then might as well, right? But I don't even need to do that, because we can both be wrong. You'll still lose your job. You'll just lose the ability to use the cap. You're wrong. Now, here's the problem. When you guys, any of you, decide to be terrorists, decide that you're going to forcibly fear and anger your way through things to get what you want from others, can other people be prepared for that? When people whip out cameras or cell phones, should they be innocuous, ignored devices? Are they just listening to music because they have headphones on, or is this just a complete fucking illusion? You're an idiot. How'd that happen in Neighbors, for example? I called animal control on them for keeping their fucking dog in a cage with no wiggle room. It's like the exact size of the dog, or on a leash that's literally half a foot long, so the furthest he can go is out from under the roof of the porch. And that's it! And he barks for 18 hours a day, begging for any kind of attention whatsoever. That's neglect. That's abuse. I called. And when the people came to investigate, they asked me after, from a distance over 3 yards, of course, "Did you call the police on me?" And I just ignored them. I'm watching them the whole time. "Did you call the police on me?" After they asked a couple times, I answered. Didn't tell them. I said, "I'm not going to feed into your drama." That's power. You need to understand that, folks. I could have answered them, right or wrong. If I told them yes, more violence and stupidity coming my way. It doesn't help that dog, doesn't help me, doesn't help them. If I said, "No, I'm a liar, and you know I don't like to lie. Plus my ego's too high to really want to lie. Yes, I did it, and I did it because you're a piece of shit." That's how it would have happened, you know what I mean? So instead, I just let them know it's not worth feeding into. Have a nice day. But I've also let them know in the past in little subtle ways. Do you like having a dog? What's it like having a pet? I'm thinking about getting one. You know? So it ain't like people don't know who they're playing with when they fuck around. You're transporting someone with allegedly all these mental illnesses. Expect him to be ill, or not, but definitely don't expect after you stir some shit while you're a complete sober-minded individual, no drugs, allegedly, no mental illnesses, allegedly. Don't ever expect like you're going to win, because every now and then you're going to find a mentally ill person like autism who's capable of fighting his battles a little bit. You can't rely on the fact that you're not diagnosed to be superior. It works in the great majority of cases. You can say like he's having a bipolar attack or something like that. But if they can bring themselves down, then you can't do that. You know? And it also opens you up to attack yourself because you're the one of superior mental status. Certain behaviors accepted or expected from you and not expected from the other person. The other person's ill. They can't help themselves. They're having a breakdown. They're wrong, sure, whatever. But they're ill and they just need treatment. So we'll get them to a hospital. We'll get them medications. We'll get them what they need. You, however, not having illness, you're a criminal. You're a terrorist. You're a violent Neanderthal screaming and bullying your way through shit. So you might want to think about that, because if anything happens from the show, one of the things I'm pretty much expecting to happen, kind of like Cop Block, is more and more people are going to go around being what I call legal terrorists. They're going to allow drama to happen in their life, but instead of being the good boy, turn the other cheek, get punched in the other jaw. You know, instead of just sucking up poison and abuse, landlord, friends, family, anything. I think we're at a time where I can teach people to stand up. Now is the time for me to rise to my feet. Wipe the spit from my face. Wipe these tears from my eyes. Hate breed. Okay, and now's the time to fight. And that's just what it is. And people think they have a lot more power, a lot more capability, because a lot of people, like you and me, you know, have pushed over. We've let them, on occasion, or some of us all the time, get away with everything. I've done 500 rides in this vehicle and haven't got a complaint once. Okay, welcome to your first complaint, bitch. No, I didn't say it like that, but you know. Okay, so no one's complained. What you showed me the logic in that. Mom makes cookies. I don't ask for cookies. I made all these cookies, and nobody asked for cookies yet. Don't you know they still want cookies? They still want them. They smell good. They taste good. They might be humble. They might be patient. They might wait for you to do the right thing. They might account for the fact that you're human and capable of making mistakes. Or in the cookie scenario, not include them. Whatever. It's not a really good example, but... So, 500 people so far, or 500 trips, it could be the same people, haven't complained. Does that mean that they didn't have any complaints, or just that no complaints were filed? Use your brain, bitch. Okay, cool. So 500 people haven't yet complained. Well, out of 500 mentally ill people, I will be the one. Or 500 trips with mentally ill people. I'll be the one to complain then. Have no problem with that. That means that's how important it is for someone to finally start complaining before you end up murdering someone on the road, driving over curbs with no seatbelt. Hopefully you die first and they get to bail out of the bigger mass of the vehicle protected, be it in the center of this van type thing with the automatic sliding doors and shit. Maybe they'll be alright and you'll just die and leave them stranded with like schizophrenia or something, not knowing where they are, how to get home. Right? Maybe good stuff will happen like that, but worst case scenario, the car explodes because of you. Worst case scenario, driving on the wrong side of the road. That's you. That's a you choice. And I think it's my job, in a way, to take advantage of every bit of misfortune, every bit of abuse, every bit of narcissism, every bad word used against me, every cop used against me. You guys are starting to get a little bit of a record, and I don't even share everything. I think it's my responsibility to show you what's real. For example, if the neighbors think it's okay to call police on me 4 different times for not sharing their religion, I didn't even pentagram this time, but moonstone. Then they clearly don't know what police's function are, and or they don't know the law. How better to educate them by breaking a couple? Not really. But you know, letting them believe you have, letting them continue to make mistakes until so many people have showed you, this is not illegal. That's illegal. What you're doing is illegal. What he's doing is not. He could get this close to your house and be more obnoxious than you already consider him and be legally right. Now, what you consider morally a friendly right is a whole different scenario, but I don't owe you shit. The way that I see professionals, okay, is whether you're really a pro or not, okay, you have a job function. Cab driver, drive cab. For mentally ill. Let's break it down. Mentally ill cab driver. Damn, that was hard. Can't believe she fucking forgot. But you're getting paid, and my money goes to insurance, right? Because I don't make money, essentially. SSI is essentially the government paying you, or you paying more when you think about it, making less. And all these corporations that handle certain jobs and stuff for you. Mental health, therapy, the whole 9 yards. This cab service. So, essentially, you're being paid, whether it comes directly from me or indirectly, you're being paid for a service. However you conduct that service is truly up to you. Yeah, you can scream. Yeah, you can drink on the job. You can wait for the 500 trips so far, not complaining. But I don't care what your job is. You could be a president. And I would still talk to you like you're a piece of shit. I would still tell you what the reality of things are. Landlord, these are your jobs. This is the legal requirements, and this is your contractor requirements, which actually just gave us a lot more to work with, not less. Do it or don't. What I do will be directly based around what you do or don't do. Your actions and inactions. Same thing. Cab driver, drive cab. Shut the fuck up, do your job. I don't need to say that, don't need to argue with you, don't need to worry about your tones. And you can have a bad attitude, technically, but it don't need to be directed at me. Scream and harass all your family members like you did on the telephone. But I hold people accountable, and that's why I'm a terrorist, so to speak. I hold people accountable. You say you're X? Hi, X! You say you're what gender? Hi! Not that I believe it, but hi, gender! You know, you think that, you know, okay, so do what you want. But if you say, I work for Veyo, I work for Medicaid, I work for... Then you work for that guy. That guy's your boss, and that guy sets the rules, and that guy's rules and stipulations says, and I'm going to hold you to all of them. The very little bit of rights I get. The ones promised to me in advance, right? And if they fail or falter, I'm going to call you out. You're going to fail with me. I'm not going to be the only one to suffer you out of your mind. We can both sit in the middle of the road together in this car because you don't want to pull up to the house. That's perfectly fine. I will wait. And we did for 40 minutes, at least. I made multiple recordings on the time. So, yeah, and the longest one was 35 minutes. And then there was one that's like 15, 20 minutes. And I know there were more than that. So at least 40, though. So, yeah. What are you going to do? What the fuck are you going to do? Thinking, feeling, yelling at your superior that you're better than me? And making the mistake of letting me know, first off, that I'm right that you're an alcoholic, but rewording it, of course. I've been in recovery for 5 years. So you're not recovered then, what you're saying. You're recovering, you're still an alcoholic, you're still going to the same treatments because you can't fucking hack it in the outside world. You can't? Okay. You recovering addict. It's the term I like. I don't, look, call me out by all means. I don't like being wrong, but I will like being right later. Right? That's how we all should think. So by all means, hold me to anything I claim or say inaccurate. Like when she tried to lie on the phone about the racism thing. Like she came up with the whole idea of I'd hire some people, I'd get my family to show up to beat his ass, but he'd probably take advantage of it being a white person when he ain't even white. I add the word, he ain't even white, she'd have no way to know him. But on one of her phone calls, like to dispatch for the company she works for, I turned it into some racial thing. When? I asked her. She couldn't give a single example. I made sure to immediately ask, what, where, when? What did I say to give you this idea? Because as far as I'm concerned, we're all just people. So let me get this straight. You're only willing to have my ass beat if it's by people with similar skin color? What are you saying, ma'am? She has no answers, of course. Because her goal originally was to prime. Now, just to let you know what priming is in psychology, it's the white box around your Facebook videos that says some text at the top before you click play. Like, this is going to be funny before you click play, so you're more likely to laugh. Or a white man restraining a black child, just pinning him to the floor, not hurting him, not attacking him, not saying anything racist. But the white box at the top of the video might say, white man assaults black child. And so before you even click play, your mind is already prepared to look for and support theoretical white man assaulting a black child. None of it's ever proven, but you already went in for the mindset to look for that to back up that belief. And of course the videos are so often, like conversations are, chopped to specificity instead of the entire thing. You only get the part of seeing some black kid held down by a white dude, and therefore assume it must be some racial thing. That's priming, telling you what to think before thinking it. And that's exactly what she attempted to do when she called dispatch. You know, I'm the terrorist now all of a sudden. No. Yes, maybe. No. I'm just not going to back down to terrorism. I've been trained for this. My mom was a narcissist. You're going to tell them, me, I'm racist. I did XYZ. You couldn't give any examples of what they were, but you can make the broad fucking claim that I made things racial. So I had to ask, what's racial? What? I didn't even ask, what race do you think I am, lady? Okay. All this will hit the surface of the light. I have a couple more calls to make. And I'm going to make sure that I call her job. She's going to lose her job. One way or another, she's going to lose her job. I can guarantee you that, folks. Because if it's not directly, indirectly, when I pump and feed the flames and I spread her name and her image and the truth of all of this shit, and you can try to legally tackle me and do whatever you think the law is there too, you'd be surprised. There's a reason why I walked away. I know more than my accusers do. While they're acting terrorist-like, whether or not I join you or not, I know more than you do about the proceedings. So, you can learn from me, maybe, or you can cut the shit out. None of us can be terrorists. We're going to learn a lot together, folks. kevinsportal.com/schoolforeevil. www.kevinsportal.com/schoolforeevil. We're going to continue with these, we got to come up with a nickname for these, because this is borderlining, I've kind of restructured everything at this point. I don't even want to do the show in a regular format anymore. But Narcissist TV is what this is kind of becoming. You know, because there ain't enough, really. There ain't enough positive narcissistic material anyway. Like, there's lots of horror movies where narcissist is the guy that kidnaps you or something like that, but there isn't a lot to show you how narcissism is a vantage point. Both defending against or being a narcissist with a narcissist. So you'll see, for example, in some of these clips, I'm pretty nasty, but look how level-handed I am, and this actually just happened. So it's all for a reason, okay? It's all for a purpose. It's all calculated and strategic, including my alleged outrage or upset or uproar. It's all part of the plan. And the plan is to share with you the things that you're doing that's unacceptable so that you can catch wind to them. You'll try to challenge me for the very same crimes that you did. and called them wrong, which should hopefully subconsciously illuminate that you're doing them. You screamed before I raised my voice. You racial slurred. I didn't even join in on that. But you get my point. If I called you an N-word flat out after you called me a cracker, who's wrong? We're both wrong or no one's wrong. That's how it works. You did it. You're showing me what's acceptable. My poor autistic ass is flexing to learn my surroundings, but it's not going to be on the losing end forever. So we can all lose together is how I see it. I'm going to call you out on every one. Hopefully later you'll see I lied, I cheated, I did alcohol, whatever it is that you did that contributed to you failing in this situation. Ultimately, at the very least, you lost 45 minutes of your time, right? Dealing with an alleged terrorist, fearful of your life, allegedly, uncomfortable for 45 straight minutes, not knowing what to do, and whose choices led into that moment. Cause and effect relationship. How could you have done something different and not repeat this, even if I was, which I'm not, the wrong person? And I'm going to show you and kind of force you to learn from that just a little bit by making it that much harder, since you want to make me out to be a bad guy while I've already looked the other way and turned the other cheek just enough to allow some of your behaviors. There's no earth where it's appropriate to drink, drive without a seatbelt, transport mentally ill people, and have an attitude problem for them asking for the color of your fucking car. Sorry, dude. Gonna have to destroy you. Look forward to more of this shit. She even told me not to post it online. At first she said she didn't care that I posted online. And she said some shit like, I'm not good enough to have a hit put out on me after the racist hiring 2 family members to do it. Oh, man. Life's a fucking trip. Have a good day, folks. I'll try to put together a more coherent story and include some clips tomorrow if I can get the time to it. That's what I want to do. I know I haven't been sticking up with schedules very well, but I'm in way too many directions, and I've got a lot of challenges. Some of these are ones I'm taking on myself. There's so many more that aren't, and there's literally 24 battles happening at all given times right now. Got the landlord on one hand, former drug dealer, criminals down the street, got people trespassing and shit, got this lady, which I'm going to have to keep up if I want anybody else in the future protected or safe. You know, obviously I could opt out of that one particular war because I'm already gone. She ain't never going to pick me up again because I called her out. I'm going to make sure that she suffers if she does. Or at least that's what it's going to look like, you know. Point being, I give an image for you to believe in, and you're ignorant. In the name of Jesus. Okay, you believe what I let you believe. You think what I've helped you think. You feel what I've shown you to feel. And it's not that my ego's so high to say those things. It's that that's all you'll do. You won't retrospect. You won't learn from things. You won't rehearse. You don't come into a situation prepared. You're not thinking ahead about what happens next. You don't know how to etiquette. And I'm supposed to be the autistic one, but you don't know how to conduct yourself in public. You know, it's just like, it's only a matter of time, really. And I don't fucking think I should subject future people to it if I can, even if I have to be the bad guy or a criminal or get a charge every now and then. Maybe it might happen one day. So far I win, you know, but, you know, eventually it might catch up. But it'd be worth it because I'm saving who knows how many lives from fucked up scenarios and people who would otherwise never change at all. You know, and I get to change them and surrounding circumstances, at the very least the clientele, by challenging that. And I'm not going to fucking feel bad just because I yelled with a yelling person. Mostly I chuckled. You'll see it in the film. I literally pointed out that I did it like adults do to children's. You're out of control. Can you calm down? Ma'am, you're screaming. Why are you raising your voice? Everything's fine. You know, stuff like that, which seems very fucked up to do, but that's what they did to us as kids, you know? So I'm kind of saying without saying, ma'am, do you hear how calm and comfortable I am? I'm supposed to be this wild shit, right? But right now it looks like, without saying it directly, you're the one wild. You're psychotic. You're having a breakdown. You're insert. You're the one screaming. You're the one saying a fucking deity name over and over and over again. Which is why I told her I was a Satanist. Which the very next phone call was the first piece of ammunition she used. He's over here telling me he's a Satanist. Well, bitch, you just said God's name 45 times before I said anything. You're cursing me with his fucking name. You're trying to eject from literal reality by focusing on a mantra. And only living that mantra, which isn't working because I'm sucking you back into reality anyway. So, yeah, I told you I was a Satanist because I want you to know while you're trying to attack me with your God, I'm going to defend myself with mine. If only to your mental fucking problems. You're going to fucking start to think. And either you're going to fight harder and continue your psychosis, or you're going to cut it out fearful of the retaliation of someone who would believe in and worship a so-called devil and or curse you. Hell, even if you don't believe in curses, if your belief is so strong that God's going to protect you to sit miserable for 45 straight minutes, you know, and harass people, and that your God's just that fucking cool, you know, then maybe your God will take care of me. It's really hard to understand that, but maybe, you know, maybe I'll blow up in the back seat or something. Just crazy. All right, have a good day, folks. Peace be with you.